Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to today's session of the Virtual International Conference on Global Research Trends in Biotechnology, hosted by the Department of Biotechnology from St. Joseph's College of Engineering. I request you all to follow a few instructions before we start to ensure the smooth sailing of the event. Please do not unmute your microphones throughout the session and do not introduce yourselves in the chat box. Kindly post any questions you have in the chat box and they will be answered at the end. If you face any technical difficulties at any point, relay them in the chat box and we will look into it. I suggest that you all use earphones for better quality. The feedback forms will be posted sometime during the session. Also, we have sent an email to the participants whose abstracts have been selected. It has a registration link. Kindly fill it up as soon as possible. Now, without further ado, let's get into today's session. Our esteemed guest speaker for today's session is Dr. Subna Perumal, who is a research professor at Kyungpook National University in South Korea. She initially completed her BSc Chemistry in the year of 2002 at the Government Arts and Science College in Dharmapur. Here, she procured the first rank in her college. She then obtained her master's degree from the Bharathidasan University, majoring in chemistry as well. She pursued her doctorate in nanomaterial science from Frey University in Berlin in the year of 2012 with a thesis on the investigation on interaction of multivalent ligands on noble metal nanoparticles. She then worked as a project assistant at the Indian Institute of Science for over 2 years and as a project assistant at the Institute for Biochemistry before becoming a research associate at JNCASR in Bangalore. Dr. Subna is highly skilled in polymer chemistry with over 10 years of research experience. Her other research interests include development of graphene composites, hydrogen particle synthesis for heavy metal absorption, as well as nanomaterials. She has published papers in various well-reputed international journals such as Biosensors and Bioelectronics and in the Journal of Material Science. She was the recipient of the Excellent Oral Presentation Award from KSIEC Spring meeting held in South Korea. She is excellent at handling atomic force microscopy, infrared microscopy, nanosizer, as well as a differential scanning calorimetry, amongst other such instruments. It is our immense pleasure to have you join us today, ma'am. I request you to take over the session.
Okay, good morning, everyone. So I'm really happy to meet you all in this webinar meeting. So it's really my great pleasure to give a talk in this. So first of all, I would like to thank the organizing committee members for giving me this opportunity. So in this unstable situation, especially in Tamil Nadu, we have a very good webinar conference, like for the students, faculties, and for everyone, it will be very helpful. Basically, I'm not a biologist, so I am a chemist. So I won't go much about the biology work, and I won't bore you in chemistry field also. Just I will go for overview. I will go very fast in my field. So already they have introduced, the committee members has introduced me. So for a short presentation, I just kept like I obtained my bachelor degree from Periyar University in 2002 and master degree from Bharathidasan University in 2004. And I obtained my PhD degree from Freie University Berlin in Germany. And past 6 years, I stayed in South Korea and I worked as a postdoc and research professor in the same university. So this is my overall research work, what I have done, what I am doing. So I have synthesized small organic molecules, which I have used for the antiviral drug activities. So whatever I synthesized, the small organic molecules was tested for the antiviral drug activities. In my PhD studies, I studied about the ligands on the surface. This will be helpful for the biologist because so the proteins, biomolecules, those are kind of like we treat as a nanoparticles. So this is a basic research helps everyone. So if we think that the nanoparticle is the biomolecules, so I studied how the drug molecules will interact and how it is attaching on the surface of the biomolecule. So to help, so in every field, I studied this. So in the chemistry side, I just put some ligand on the nanoparticle surface and I studied the effects of the nanoparticle ligands on the nanoparticle surface. So, and then recently I started working in the graphene surface. So there I functionalized with the polymers. So that one I used for different applications such as biology, for especially for the cancer treatment, and other the HER water splitting for the hydrogen evolution reaction. So after my master degree, I moved to Indian Institute of Science in 2004 to Professor S. Chandrasekharan group. So there I started working as a project assistant with his guidance and also Shivapriya guidance. So she is now as an associate professor in IIT Gandhinagar. So she was my first guidance. She taught me a lot in the chemistry field, especially in the research field. So there I learned very basic research, like how to write the report, how to start the reaction, everything I started learning in IISc. So there I synthesized many small organic molecules. In that, one set of organic molecules which I synthesized were thio and seleno derivatives. These showed really very good inhibitors, especially urease inhibitors. So by this work, I got a 5 publication like a co-author in international journals like bioorganic medicinal chemistry letters, organic letter, tetrahedral carbohydrate research. So with this experience, I moved to Germany. So there I stayed in Lübeck for a very short time. So I stayed in Professor Rolf Hilgenfeld group for just for 6 months. So there I synthesized some heterocyclic compounds. So these compounds was used as an antiviral drug for SARS virus. So that time actually SARS virus was the research was very new. So this professor still he is working on this virus. So he is actually basically biologist, a crystallography professor. So he took the chemistry people and he started synthesizing the small molecules for the SARS virus. So he's taking the antiviral drug against this virus. So then I found my PhD position in Berlin. So I moved to Berlin. I started working in Professor Eckhart Ruhl group with his co-worker Christina Graf. So they were guiding all through my PhD work. So there I studied, as before I told you, multi and mono and multivalent interaction between ligands with metal nanoparticles. Actually, this is very basic research what I studied. So as I mentioned before, I synthesized the gold nanoparticles. So in these nanoparticles, I put some ligand on that, and that ligand I exchanged with other. So just exchanging one with other. Then I found how it is changing when I change the multivalent ligand. I think biology, the drugs, and other things like we have a multivalent like active centers. There are multivalent active centers, monovalent. So this will be helpful for those biology also, because this project was built with the chemist, physics, and biology people together. They have wrote this project. So we were giving them the idea. The biologist people, we give chemists give the idea for them. So how it will be affecting the surface, how it will be helping. So what kind of molecules we can use, what kind of drugs will be suitable for specific area, surface. So those kind of idea we were giving the biology people to design their research in biology for a drug delivery systems like that. So in that I choose like I synthesize some different types of ligands and I started exchanging with that. So and I found that so the multivalent ligands are exchanging very fast than compared to the small molecules. And also I changed the size of the particles. In that also it was affecting very large. Like when the size is increasing, the reaction rate also was increasing. So one set of one set of work I was done with that by exchanging reaction. In other set of 2 parts where I have done in my thesis. So in the other part, I just synthesize the nanoparticles along with the ligands, small molecules and macromolecules, kind of like multivalent ligands. So I checked what are the size, shape, how it is affecting the shape when we synthesize along with the ligands. So these two main important aspects were studied in my thesis. And then later I moved to South Korea along with my husband. There I started working in Yangon National University as a postdoc in Professor In Wo Chang's group. So there I stayed nearly like more than 6 years I stayed in his group. So then I started working with polymer, which was a very new field for me. Then it took some time to learn. And then with polymer and graphene, I was working. So in his group, I developed the very good stable dispersion, graphene dispersion for different applications. So for this, actually, many you are all are biology background. So in order to give a short make a note on a graphene. So I just put one few slides. So here I will tell about the graphene. Graphene are two-dimensional. Graphene is a two-dimensional compound. So which are composed of carbon atoms. Actually, you all know the pencil which we are using. This lead, the head of the pencil, this lead is purest form of the graphite. This graphite is available in nature very much. So this graphite actually it is composed of many layers of graphene. They are stacked together. So the stacking of the graphene leads to the graphite. But this graphite we cannot use for application directly. So we have to exfoliate the graphite from these graphene layers from these graphite. For this, actually, two chemists, they got Nobel Prize from Manchester University in 2004. They were the first who isolated the graphene layers from the graphite. So they got the Nobel Prize in 2010 for their work, excellent work. So these graphene has really very extraordinary properties, such as they are very good in mechanical strength. They have very high specific area. And they are good in electrical conductivity. So because of these properties, they are used in different applications, such as mainly in biology also they are using. Like till now there is not much research about the reports are not available much with the graphene, but still they are there, not like other research. But graphenes are emerging, like nowadays they are using much in the biology field. So they are used in the stem cell based tissue engineering work and biosensor, and even they are showing that graphene derivatives, like derived form of the graphene surface, they are using in vivo and in vitro studies also. Nowadays they are using much. And imaging, biosensor, drug delivery, biological agents, and tissue engineering, and as a therapy also they are using. So when we put some particles like ionox and nanoparticles or like that on the surface, they can use for the therapy. Like CT, like MRI scanner, so those kind of things also they can be used. And also the functionalized one they are using as a sensor, like DNC sensor also, they can be used with the graphene surface. So other than the biology effect, recently these will be commercially available very soon. Actually, these are the new products, not yet marketed. So this is a graphene filters which can be filter the salt water with drinking water. So the salts can be removed by this using the graphene filter. And this is the dye. So nowadays we dye our hair with our favorite color. So here is the hair dye, which is made up of graphene. This can be they cannot be washed like for 3-4 washes. It will be stayed in on our hair. And they found the shoe in Manchester University. One of the group in Manchester University, they designed the shoe, which the sole is made up of the graphene. So they prove that this is very flexible, so it will be useful for the sportsmen, so especially for the running people, so athletics, so they can be used because it is very flexible. So other than this, so what I use with graphene, along with the graphene, only graphene cannot be used in many cases. So it needs some binder or some functionalized thing. It needs some molecules on the surface. So people, we go for the, like researcher, we concentrate on polymers. What are the polymers? Polymers are the repeated units of monomer units. Repeated monomer units are called, collectively called polymers. These are the polymers. So these polymers can be designed into any form of structure. Like we can form particles, we can form micelles, like nanogels, vesicles, where you can load the drug, and then the flames, so which can be used for the, like a phone, what we are using, like a, so those kind of flexible screens also can be used, can be made from the polymers. Membranes, filter membranes, those, that this polymer has variety of applications. So here I show what I did with this polymer. I made the particles. So it's kind of vesicles, like micelles. So in this, we can load the drugs, antiphobic drug or hydrophobic drug or hydrophilic drugs can be loaded in this particles, and they can be used for the drug delivery system. So the polymers with the drugs, when they reach the cell membrane, they can be detached, and then the drugs will be diffused through the membrane, and the drug delivery will be take place. So polymer, it has really very good applications in vaccines and also antibacterial application, drug delivery system, which I explained before, and drug carriers for vaccines. So these polymers, like natural polymers, are all available, biosynthesized and chemically synthesized polymers are available. All polymers has really very good applications. So along with the graphene and polymer, it has very good application. So they have really very good application. So this is one kind of polymer. So where they can be used for the drug delivery. In this polymer, actually we put some drug. So when you put some light, these are called thermoresponsive polymer, like stably responsive polymer. So these polymers will respond by UV radiation or thermolight, like when you heat it up. So when you heat it up, this drug will come slowly, and it can be used for the drug delivery system. So such kind of polymers we are doing in our lab. So what I did, I worked with amphiphilic polymers. So what are amphiphilic polymers? Amphiphilic polymers are composed of hydrophobic and hydrophilic unit. So when you look for the skin structure, our skin structure also is a kind of amphiphilic structure. They have amphiphilic, like a amphiphilic polymer. So they have both hydrophobic and hydrophilic layers in our skin structure. So they're the lipid layers. So that's why we concentrate on the amphiphilic glycopolymers. So we synthesize the polymers with amphiphilic units like hydrophobic and hydrophilic together, so that we can go for the drug delivery system. So here I used polymers, and then I made the nanoparticle. It's a kind of nanoparticle. So it's a micelle. So where it has a hydrophilic head and hydrophobic tail. So in this micelle, we can load hydrophobic drug inside, because this is the red color thing are hydrophobic. So we can load the hydrophobic drug. So when you prepare the vesicles, so these has the hydrophilic head, and outer also hydrophilic head. So in this case, you can load hydrophilic drug inside. So as a preliminary test, I have used this polymer and I made the vesicle. You could see here, this is a confocal image. These green dots are the vesicles which I prepared by using the polymers, and then I loaded the drug, which is RS2A. So this is RS2A is a retinol derivative, vitamin A derivative. So this drug I just loaded in the vesicles and I used for the drug delivery system. We did not go for the in vivo or in vitro studies, just we did in our lab. So using very simple setup. So this is called the transdiffusion cell system. So this is a membrane which is considered as our skin structure, like hydrophobic, hydrophilic membranes are used, and we put the drug loaded polymer here, and we have a solution here. So and we take the solution here, and we will take by with the time how the drugs are delivered, like how the drug delivery is increasing with the time or not. So for that we have used this system in our lab. So we designed ourselves and we made the setup like this, and we used the polymer which is made up of PEG and styrene. The styrene unit is a hydrophobic, so I loaded the hydrophobic drug in that. So then I checked how much it is delivered. So as the shown here, the drug was delivered maximum in 5 hours. It was very good, efficient. So as a chemist, we cannot go directly first to the in vitro or in vivo studies for the biology studies. So first we have to test in the lab. So for that, we just checked initially how it is delivering, the drug is delivered or not. So by this simple setup, we checked it was confirmed that drug is delivered. So then later we will be going for the further studies. We will send this polymers to our biology collaborators. They will be doing some biology study. And then the next part, actually, I did some graphene dispersion, which I used for the drug delivery system. For this, I prepared very stable dispersion, graphene dispersion. So for this, I choose the monomer. I prepared the polymer using some monomer, which will be biocompatible. So as you see here, the structure, this phosphate group, which are in this polymer, this is called a phosphocholine unit. So as you all know that phosphocholine unit we have in our skin structure also. So I choose such kind of monomers. So then I prepared the graphene with this polymer. I stabilize the graphene surface with this polymer, and then it becomes biocompatible. So then there I loaded some iron oxide nanoparticle on this polymer. So they will have an interaction with this phosphate. So they are decorated. So now I have graphene polymer with iron oxide nanoparticle. So then I gave these composite, this stable dispersion I gave to my biology collaborators. So they loaded the doxorubicin. So you all know these are used for the cancer therapy. So they loaded the doxorubicin drug, and then they checked the drug delivery for this using thyroid cancer cell. So this is the characterization which I have done for my composite, which I prepared. This is a TEM image. So here I took the mapping, elemental mapping, which shows the carbon, the presence of phosphate, iron on the graphene surface showed that the graphene is stabilized with the iron oxide nanoparticle and the polymer. There, this is a confocal image which was obtained by our collaborators. So here by this image, it is really very clear that the drugs, the doxorubicin was delivered to the thyroid nucleus. And further, it was confirmed by the Western plot. So here you could see that the growth of the cancer cell are arrested and the killing is increasing. Killing of the cancer cell is increasing. So the biology thing confirms that our composites which I prepared is really very efficient for the drug delivery, especially when it is delivered to the nucleus of the cancer cell. And we have done with the breast cancer cell also. Just I have shown here thyroid cancer cell, and still they are doing with the breast cancer cell. But still, the results are good in other cell also. So this confirms that our graphene composites can be used for the biology. In this case, actually, it was a new. It is not yet published. Actually, till now, whatever the paper comes out with the graphene for the biology studies are all or derivatives of the graphene surface. But here I use the graphite, what is available in the nature. I took the graphite, I exfoliate with the polymer. So this is a new one and very short method to prepare the composites which can be used for the biology studies. Other methods, what are reported one, they takes really long time to prepare the graphite. But then by using my method, it's very simple to prepare the composite biocompatible composites. So in the conclusion, I tell that it is I prepared the very stable graphene dispersion, and also it was successfully used for the drug delivery system, especially for the cancer cells. So till now, I gave the overview idea of my research work. So there are I asked actually one of the organizing committee members. So whether there are master students, undergraduate students are there in the meeting. So they told, yeah, there are many master students. Actually, I went to the many conference, international conference in the past 1 year. I gave the overview idea, like how you can enter for the master degree after your undergraduate graduation, or how you can go for the abroad for your higher studies. So in all my talks, I usually give some overview, like what are the opportunities available. And here, this is a biotechnology conference, so I don't want to bore you all in chemistry field. So I put some slides. So this could be helpful for the master students and undergraduate students. So as I studied in IIC, I stayed in IIC for 2.5 years. I know what are the opportunity to get in there for higher studies and in abroad also. So here I showed in this slide, there's various opportunity after your master degree or bachelor degree. So some students will like to go for the company. So they aim for the company after the studies to earn money. Or some students will aim to become teacher. So they will go for B.Ed and they become good teacher. So some they go for MPhil degree and then they do the PhD degree. These are the scientists from our India. So I just showed some pictures of the scientists. So we have, and then, so how you do in this, what are the opportunity, as per my knowledge, what are the opportunities there in India? So for PhD, where you can do PhD? So you can do in, other than the private autonomous institutes, other than state universities, I think state university, autonomous institutes, we all will be knowing a little bit. But these institutes are not, when I did my master, I did not aware of these institutes actually. So there are good institutes where we can pursue our PhD degree in India without going to abroad. So there are NITs, there are many NITs now, there are new NITs in India, Indian Institute of Science, Indian Institute of Technologies are there, and the Indian Institute of Science, where I stayed 2.5 years after my master degree. So these institutes provides like a course for PhD degree along with integrated PhD. So there are gate. So how you can enter there? So you can enter by JEE exam, NET exam, GATE exam. So these are the exam how you can enter to these institutes for your higher studies. So here is, I show the entry mode of the IIC. Please go to this website, IIC website, for the more details. So you can go to IIC for your integrated PhD after your bachelor degree. So by giving an exam, in case of after your master degree, if you want to enter for PhD degree, if you clear NET or GATE, or they have a separate exam for PhD, so you can clear that one and you can enter that. And also they have some small companies inside the institute, so you can go to the companies and while working only you can register for the PhD in IISc only. There is option also. And recently I saw, I think in Alagappa University, they started the PhD degree admission for a PhD degree admission for this year. So please, if someone is interested, please go to the Alagappa University and look for the biotechnology, especially in the biotechnology field. I saw advertisement. And then they have integrated course, as I said before. So please, for the integrated course, please go to this website, PhD Integrated Program website, and check the eligibility and how you can apply. I think this year it is already over, but still, like if you want to interested to do, like some students will be going out next year, so it will be helpful for those students. So please go to this website and check for the details. And they have summer fellowships other than the PhD fellowship. They have like a master students, bachelor students after year summer vacation, first year in the break between first year and second year, you have summer vacation, right? So in those period also you have very good opportunity to go to IISc. They have KVPY program. So in this actually you have a stipend, you have free accommodation, and it's really very good atmosphere to know about the research while you are in the graduation studies. So these exposures will be helpful for your higher studies. So they have these opportunities also. So please go to that website and check for the details. And the internships, like some internships they have. So these also is available. Like program also is available, and IAS internship also available. So you can approach, if you cannot get these opportunity, you can directly approach to the professors. So you can go to the IASE website, you can check the research field of the professor. If you are interested, you can directly approach the professor. I have this summer vacation, so I would like to do some research. I would learn some research in your group, so you can mail like that. So if they are interested, they are willing, they will contact you again. So in the like that also you can go to IISc to get exposure to many scientists. And other than IISc in Bangalore, there is a Jawaharlal Nehru Institute which provides the same courses as that of IISc, and also they also have internship, summer fellowship with stipend, and in there also they give free accommodation. Actually, this 6,000 is not updated on the website. It is nearly, I heard that it is more than 10,000 now. So you get really good amount of internship. So, and you have really good opportunity to work with some very good researchers. So you learn many things. It will be helpful for your careers. So this they have a MSc and 2 years master degree and integrated PhD. Site for further details. And this is opportunity how you can go to Germany, like that fellowship and other fundings are available to enter to the to Germany for higher studies. So what I did not go to through any fellowship. Just I approached the individual professor. So I approached really like I mailed nearly like more than 2,000 professor in Germany. So I usually go to each and every university in the Germany. Then I went to the homepage. I checked the research field, what they are working on it. Then I just approached the professor. I like this work, so I like to do research in your group. So like that, I approached the professor. So you can do that also is available. And you get really good fellowship in Germany, so where you can lead your life here. So without your parents' help for PhD. For master degree or for bachelor degree, we need some funding, but in those case, I think it is not possible for many of us. But for PhD degree, you get fellowship and it is good opportunity to go there. So, and then in Korea, so Korea actually, one thing in Germany or Korea, as per I know, most of the websites will be in their language, their mother tongue, like German or in Korean. But as per I know, in Korea University, each and every university they have international office. So once you found the international office, if you approach the officers in international office, they will help you how you can go enter there, how to get admission. But in Korea, you must need TOEFL score actually. So in case if some professor said okay to enter in his group or her group, so you can go there and then later you can there write the TOEFL. So if you get the TOEFL score, very good score, you will get full fellowships. So you will get good amount, or otherwise you will get off amount. So in this case also, if you approach individual professors, they will let you know whether they are interested in your CV or not. So these are the way how you can enter to the higher studies to abroad. So that's all my talk. I think I have completed in very fast in 30 minutes. So if you have really much time to ask questions, so if you have any questions, please let me know.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for an informative session, ma'am, on polymers and their application, as well as giving us advice on opportunities for us to pursue higher studies and internships. That will definitely be useful to many of us. There are actually a few questions our participants have asked. So I call upon our convener, Mrs. K.R. Preeti, ma'am, to conduct the Q&A session.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Swatika. Suguna, ma'am, am I audible to you?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Let me put out the questions, ma'am. Our first question.
Okay.
Graphene, capable of enhancing our immune cells.
Pardon?
Does graphene has the capability to enhance our immune cells?
No. Actually, we use till now the graphene is really, they are big in size, so it is in macro size. So 100 nanometer, those size only is available. So till now, the graphene is not entering into the cell. Just it is accumulating on the surface. Only the drug is delivered.
Okay, ma'am. Our next question.
Yeah.
Graphene-based materials are safe for humans and the environment.
Yeah, that's what I like. This is the same like first before answer. So it's not going into the cell. Till now, it is not. Chemists are not shown that the graphene structure is not going inside the cells. So it is just accumulating outside. So it's not harmful. But also we are putting the biocompatible compounds on the surface. So this is not harmful. So in case if it is entering, actually entering also we are showing, but they are really flexible and it is just carbon. So it says that it will come out without any harm. They are really flexible. Very thin layer of graphenes are really flexible to enter the cells. They are saying that, but we did not prove that for the, like, I think in vivo studies are not much on this topic. So they are doing now actually.
Okay. Our next question, what is the stability of this polymer? How it is differ from liposome nanoparticles?
Pardon?
What is the stability of this graphene polymer? How it is differ from liposome nanoparticle?
Actually, the stability, they are really stable. Like I stored this dispersion for really like 6 months. So I prepared this graphene dispersion and then I kept like for a month and then I gave to my biology collaborator. They also kept for a few months because they performed with the cell and then they had some problem in the lab. So they kept in the lab for a few months, but still they were stable. They also told this dispersion is really stable. So this is not degraded, like these are not disintegrated by the time. So it tells that it is really stable.
Okay. Next question. Some research says graphene might produce reactive oxygen species in the target cell by interfering with membrane lipids.
Ma'am, can you please repeat the question?
Yes, ma'am. Some research says graphene might produce reactive oxygen species in the target cell by interfering with lipid membrane. So they're asking you, what is your opinion now?
No. Actually, what I use the graphene is not reactive actually. So I use the graphite surface. I did not use any derivative form of graphene surface. So derivative form of graphene surface, usually they have some functional groups like ozone, like epoxide group, carbon dioxide groups. So those kind of groups, they have possibilities of making free radical and they can split up and it makes some emission, like it will split up into some chemicals like carbon dioxide, those kind of things, free radicals things, it will be danger. But in my case, I did not use such graphene layers. These are clean graphene layers. This is just graphene. That's it. So in my case, it won't happen. Hello?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, Swatika.
Yes, ma'am. The next question is, are graphene capable to enhance our immune cells?
Immune system, like if we have some enhancing immune molecules on the graphene surface, of course it could enhance. Only graphene itself, it cannot even actually, it cannot boost.
Okay, ma'am. And then the next question is, since graphite is a carbon complex, are there chances that the human body can metabolize with it or digest or break down the graphite structure?
No, actually graphite structure it cannot break down. So to get the breakdown of graphene, composed graphene is really very difficult because they are composed of really very like honeycomb structure. So if we use some derivatives of the graphene surface, it is possible maybe. But in my case, I did not use such graphene surface. So this is not possible. The one thing, as I told before, I did not, till now, we did not show that these are entering into the cell. Just it is staying out the cell membrane. They are accumulating on the cell membrane. Just the drugs are delivered. So this is like a carrier. So till now, what we are doing, the graphene dispersion, so those are like a drug carrier. So they are not entering into the cell.
Okay, ma'am. And then the next question is, what is the stability of this polymer? How it is differed from the liposome nanoparticle?
Okay. So actually liposome nanoparticles, those are actually, they can enter into the cells. So then they enter into through the cell membrane and then the drugs are delivered. In my case, actually, I said before, they are not entering, they are staying out. Actually, in some case, actually, we have like a skin problem, right? For those kind of application, for those kind of work, so we can use the patches, right, on the skin structure. So those kind of things, we need that. So the materials should stay on the skin, like only the drugs or the medicine should go enter to the targeting material. So those cases, our composites will be helpful. In those kind of things only it will helpful. So it is not like we did not emphasize that our particles like graphene materials is not as good as which are made with the liposomes. They are not as good as that. Still, the research is going on these graphene, but like as a emerging field, we are doing slowly, like how we can go for the next step. Till now, it is shown that the drug is like a drug carrier only. Then later, maybe we go for the drug delivery system, like inside the cancers, like inside the cells.
Okay, ma'am. And the next question is, do accumulation of graphite on the cell surface affect other molecular transport?
No, they are actually really transparent. You could, in the very first slides, like in the background slides, I showed that it is filtering the salts, right? So those kind of things, it won't affect the other, like transmission of the other molecules. It won't affect.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. And the next question is, can you please comment on the principle or method that guides and regulates the delivery system towards the targeted organ or tissue?
Actually, these biology things, I don't know much because I gave to my collaborators. So actually, this is not published work. So it is under revision. So that's why I did not show much work on this, slides on this. So actually, maybe when we published, then it will be shown actually.
Okay, ma'am. And the next question is there a possibility that the graphite layer can react with the drug it carries and changes the chemical nature of the drug?
No. It won't change actually, because unless we check everything, we choose the molecules which is suitable for the graphene actually. I designed the polymer which is suitable for the graphene, and that one Then later we choose a drug which is suitable for that composites. So we have separate studies like chemical study, like AFM studies I carried out. So with that, my AFM studies only I choose this molecule. So I choose these types of molecule will be suitable for this graphene structure. So I choose everything by step we are doing that. So it won't affect actually.
Okay, ma'am. And then the next question is, what is the role of antibodies and enzymes against graphene in human system?
Oh, this actually I cannot answer because I am not a biologist.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, and then can you comment on the factors which affects the graphene?
Actually, we like as I told before, when we use the derivatives of graphenes, usually derivatives of graphene takes few steps from. Generally, graphene composites are prepared by taking the graphite, they make the graphene derivatives, and then graphene derivatives are functionalized with some polymers or some drug molecules, and then they are going for the applications. So in those cases, actually, there is many possibilities of breaking down of the molecules on the graphene surface, which may react with the molecules, the drug molecules on the surface. But in our case, actually, this is in situ graphene composites I prepared. So when we go for these method, actually, this is not affecting anything actually.
Okay, ma'am. And then we have one more question. In graphite polymer with drug loading, which is used as a better drug delivery system, encapsulated drug or surface attached drug?
So actually, mainly surface attached drug is better actually, because it will like a drug loading, like it will have some interaction with the polymers what we load on the graphene surface. So then the interaction will be like interaction is not like a covalent, like weak interaction, right? So those interaction will be breakable. So it is used for the drug delivery. Not in encapsulations, it won't be that good as this.
Okay, ma'am. And then the next question is, after delivery of drug, what happens to the graphite? Is it eliminated out or is it accumulated in the body?
No, it won't eliminate. Actually, it won't accumulate. Sorry, it won't accumulate. It will eliminate.
Okay, ma'am. And is it a cost-effective method to use graphite for drug delivery systems?
No. So graphene is growing, like researchers, we are focusing on the graphene because it is really very cheap. Actually, it is available in nature very much, and we don't know how to separate the graphene layers from the graphite. So this is very easy method. So that's why we are going for this. This is not cost effective.
Okay, ma'am. And the next question is it necessary to perform Western blot after characterization of nanoparticles?
No, not nanoparticle. Actually, we did this Western blot because of the cancer cell to give a like confirmation, for further confirmation. We did actually, our collaboratives have done this Western blot. One of our reviewers actually they asked to show that by Western blot it is must. They told that to show any compounds, especially with these composites, they need the Western blot. So that's why we have shown with just to support our idea to our research.
Okay, ma'am. And the last question for this session is what is the pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics of a graphite?
This actually still it is under research. So this I cannot give clear-cut idea till we clearly know where it is accumulating. I mean, if the graphene is entering, where it will be accumulating, how it will be releasing. So these research is still going on. So we cannot tell clearly like this pharmacokinetics or this topics.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you for taking your time to answer all of our participants' questions.
Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. And thank you again for taking the time to join us today and imparting us with your knowledge on graphene composites and its use for drug delivery system. I'd also like to take this time to thank our patrons, our HOD, Dr. G. Srikumar, our convener, Dr. M. Chamundeshwari ma'am, and our co-convener, Mrs. K.R. Preeti, for giving us the support and making this event possible. And finally, I thank all the participants for your cooperation and ensuring that this event was seamless. Stay safe, and I hope to see you all in our next session this evening.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for all of you for listening my talk. And if you have any questions or suggestion, please write or don't hesitate to write to my mail. And please stay safe in home. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.